Change begins the moment you decide that the person you've been is no longer enough. Most people live trapped inside the habits, beliefs, and stories they've carried for years. They keep repeating the same mistakes, following the same routines, and wondering why their lives never improve. The hard truth is this: you cannot build a new life while clinging to the old one. If you want real transformation, the old you must be destroyed completely, without hesitation, so you can rebuild from zero. In this audiobook, we will take a powerful journey together. You'll learn how to face the brutal truth about yourself, let go of the chains of your past, and eliminate the weak habits that have held you back. You'll discover how to build a warrior mindset, cut off toxic influences, and create daily routines that make success automatic. You'll also learn how to develop valuable skills, strengthen your finances, and turn pain into power. This isn't about temporary motivation or quick fixes. This is about deep, permanent change, the kind that reshapes every part of your life. At times, it may be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But if you commit to this process, you'll emerge stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. The old you has had its time. Now it's your turn to rise, to rebuild, and to create a life you've always dreamed of living. The journey starts here. The journey starts now. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Face the brutal truth about yourself. Every great transformation begins with a single uncomfortable step: facing the truth. And not just any truth, but the kind that stings, the kind that makes you want to turn away. Most people spend their entire lives running from who they really are. They hide behind excuses, blaming others, blaming circumstances, blaming the world for why they haven't become who they were meant to be. But deep down, they know the truth, and so do you. Here's the thing: you can't change what you won't confront. If you keep lying to yourself, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes, you'll keep getting the same results. Facing the brutal truth about yourself is not about tearing yourself down. It's about stripping away the illusions you've built to protect your ego. It's about finally looking in the mirror and saying, "This is where I am, this is who I've become, and this is not where I want to stay." Think about it. Every weakness you ignore grows stronger. Every bad habit you excuse digs its roots deeper, and every fear you refuse to face keeps you small. The old you thrives in denial. The new you demands honesty. Maybe you've been lazy. Maybe you've been inconsistent. Maybe you've let fear control your decisions. It's okay to admit that. It's not okay to keep pretending you haven't. Honesty is the foundation of rebuilding your life. When you tell yourself the truth, you regain power. Suddenly, you're no longer just reacting to life. You're taking responsibility for it. Grab a notebook, or simply sit with your thoughts and ask yourself tough questions. Where have I been holding myself back? Who do I blame for my problems? What lies have I been telling myself about why I can't succeed? Write it down. Don't censor it. Don't sugarcoat it. This is where the real work begins. It's not glamorous. No one else will see this part of the journey, but this private moment of brutal honesty is where everything shifts. Until you're willing to face the reality of your life, you'll never change it. Here's the good news. The truth, no matter how painful, is liberating. Once you see yourself clearly, you can begin to destroy the patterns, the behaviors, and the false beliefs that have held you back. It's like turning on the lights in a dark room. At first, it's blinding, but soon you see things for what they really are. So today, make yourself a promise. No more lies, no more excuses, no more hiding. Stand tall in the mirror of truth and own your story, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because you cannot rebuild what you refuse to see. And if you're brave enough to face the brutal truth about yourself, you are already miles ahead of the person you used to be. This is where the old you begins to crumble, and that's exactly what you want. Chapter 2. break free from the chains of your past. Your past is not your prison unless you allow it to be. Every single one of us carries a story, memories of things we've done, mistakes we've made, pain we've experienced, and losses we've endured. Some of those memories are good, but many of them are heavy, like chains wrapped tightly around our ankles. And here's the hard truth. As long as you keep dragging those chains with you, you'll never move forward. You can't rebuild a new life while clutching the rubble of the old one. So many people live as if their past defines them. They say things like, "I've always been this way," or "That's just who I am," or "I can't change because this is what happened to me." But those are just stories, and stories can be rewritten. Your past is not a life sentence, it's a lesson.
And lessons are meant to teach you, not trap you. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe you failed at something that mattered deeply. Maybe you grew up in a difficult home, or you've made choices you deeply regret. Whatever it is, you need to understand this. The pain of the past only has power if you keep feeding it with your attention. Every time you replay that memory in your mind, every time you rehearse what went wrong, you strengthen its hold over you. Breaking free starts with a decision to stop living there. You can visit your past, but you cannot set up camp there. Think of it like looking in a rear-view mirror while driving. The mirror is useful for quick glances, but if you stare at it for too long, you'll crash. The same is true in life. Glance back to learn, but keep your eyes on the road ahead. Here's what you must accept. The past will never change. What's done is done. The only thing you have the power to change is the meaning you attach to it and the actions you take moving forward. You cannot rewrite what happened, but you can rewrite how it defines you. You can take the worst thing that ever happened to you and turn it into fuel for your growth. Ask yourself right now, what chains am I still carrying? It could be resentment towards someone who hurt you. It could be guilt over a mistake you made. It could be shame, fear, or anger you've been holding on to for years. Write it down, call it out, name it, because you can't release what you refuse to acknowledge. Then take a deep breath and say to yourself, "This does not control me anymore." Forgiving the past doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It doesn't mean you forget. It means you refuse to let it keep you stuck. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It's how you cut the chain and free your spirit. Some people will resist this step.
They'll say, "But you don't understand what I've been through." And maybe I don't. But here's what I do know. No matter how painful your past was, you have two choices. You can stay there and let it define you forever, or you can rise above it and let it shape you into someone stronger. The past is either the anchor that drags you down or the foundation you build upon. The choice is always yours. You might need to set boundaries with people connected to your past. Maybe there are relationships that keep pulling you back into old patterns. Be brave enough to walk away, even if it feels scary. Protecting your future is more important than clinging to familiar pain. This process won't happen overnight. Some chains will feel like they've been part of you for so long that you don't even know who you are without them. That's okay. Letting go is a daily practice. Each day you loosen the grip a little more, and one day you'll wake up and realize you're free. Imagine what your life could be like if you weren't weighed down by regret, shame, or anger. Imagine walking into the future light and unburdened, fully ready to rebuild yourself from the ground up. That's possible for you, but it starts with a choice, a bold, courageous choice to leave the past where it belongs, behind you. When you finally cut those chains, something incredible happens. You stop being the victim of your story and become the author of a new one. And in that moment, you don't just destroy the old you step fully into the power of who you're meant to become. Chapter 3. Eliminate weak habits that are destroying you. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. Think about that for a moment.
You can have the most powerful vision for your future, the biggest dreams, the most inspiring plans, but if your daily habits are weak, they will quietly destroy you. They will eat away at your potential, little by little, until you wake up one day wondering why nothing in your life has changed. Most people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they keep repeating the same destructive patterns day after day. Weak habits are silent killers.
They seem small, they seem harmless, but over time they compound just like strong habits do. A few minutes wasted here, a promise broken there, a day skipped, a goal delayed, until suddenly years have passed and you're still stuck in the same place. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your life today is the sum of your habits. Look at your current results. Your health, your relationships, your finances, your level of happiness. They are all a reflection of the actions you've been repeating consistently. If you want to rebuild yourself, you can't just add new habits on top of old destructive ones. You have to eliminate the weak ones first. Start by identifying them. Grab a notebook and write down your typical day from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Be honest. Where are you wasting time? Where are you indulging in comfort instead of discipline? Where are you letting distractions control you? The first step to destroying weak habits is shining a light on them. You can't fix what you don't see clearly. Maybe you spend hours scrolling on your phone instead of doing meaningful work. Maybe you hit the snooze button 3 times every morning, starting your day in defeat before it even begins. Maybe you constantly say yes to things you don't want to do just to avoid conflict. These may seem small, but they are massive when compounded over weeks, months, and years. Once you've identified your weak habits, you must make the decision to cut them out ruthlessly. Don't tell yourself you'll try to change them. Trying is weak language. Decide, commit, remove them completely, even if it feels uncomfortable. Remember this, you can't rebuild a strong house on a crumbling foundation. Here's a simple but powerful strategy.
Replace. Don't just remove. If you try to eliminate a habit without replacing it, you'll leave a void, and that void will pull you back into old behavior. For example, if you want to stop mindless scrolling at night, replace it with reading a book or journaling for 10 minutes before bed. If you want to stop hitting snooze, put your alarm across the room and replace that first half-asleep moment with a small positive ritual, like drinking a glass of water or stretching. Accountability helps too. Tell someone you trust about the habit you're eliminating, or create visible reminders for yourself, sticky notes, alarms, anything that keeps you focused. Weak habits thrive in secrecy. When you bring them into the open, they lose power. Understand this. Eliminating weak habits isn't just about self-improvement, it's about identity. Every time you cut a destructive habit, you send yourself a message. I am no longer that person. That's powerful. That's how you begin to destroy the old you, not through massive, dramatic changes, but through small, consistent decisions that add up. There will be resistance. Your mind and body will fight you. Comfort will call your name. Old patterns will try to pull you back. That's normal. Expect it. But remind yourself why you're doing this. Weak habits may feel good in the moment, but they rob you of long-term growth, freedom, and fulfillment. Strong habits may feel hard at first, but they give you a life worth living. Here's a challenge. Pick one weak habit, just one, and eliminate it this week. Focus on that single change until you've mastered it. Then move to the next. This process might seem slow, but over time, it's unstoppable. If you want to rebuild from zero, this is non-negotiable. The old you is built on weak habits. The new you is built on strong ones. And the only way to make that transformation real is to break the chains of those daily choices that have been silently destroying you. Remember this. Success isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about consistently doing the right things and consistently eliminating the wrong ones. Build the discipline to choose strength over weakness, even when no one's watching.
That's how you create a future that the old you could never have imagined. Chapter 4. Build a warrior mindset. If you want to rebuild yourself from zero, you need more than plans, more than dreams, and more than motivation. You need a mindset that is unshakable. A mindset so strong that no challenge, no setback, no failure can break you. That's what I call a warrior mindset. It's not about fighting the world or living in anger. It's about becoming the kind of person who refuses to quit no matter how hard life gets. Here's the truth. Life will test you. There will be moments when everything seems to fall apart. People will doubt you. Circumstances will push you to the edge, and your own mind will try to convince you to give up. In those moments, motivation won't be enough. Motivation fades. Inspiration fades. What lasts is inner strength, a deep, steady fire that keeps burning even when the winds of life try to put it out. That's the core of a warrior mindset. So how do you build it? It begins with one simple decision: never run from discomfort. Most people spend their lives avoiding pain, avoiding challenges, avoiding anything that makes them feel uncomfortable. But warriors lean into it. They see discomfort as the pathway to growth. Every time you choose the hard thing instead of the easy thing, you train your mind to get stronger. When you push through that extra rep at the gym, when you work on your dream even when you're tired, when you speak up even though you're scared, you're proving to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. Another part of a warrior mindset is preparation. Warriors don't just hope things will get better, they prepare for battle.
That means strengthening your mind every single day. Read books that challenge you. Surround yourself with people who push you to grow. Practice gratitude, self-discipline, and focus. These aren't just nice ideas, they're mental armor. And you must also master your self-talk. The words you say to yourself shape the way you experience the world. When your mind says, "I can't do this," you have to interrupt it and replace it with, "I can handle this. I've done hard things before, and I will do this too." At first, it feels forced, but over time, it becomes your default. Warriors are not born confident. They train their thoughts until strength becomes automatic. Here's something important to understand. A warrior mindset doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you act in spite of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward, even when fear is screaming at you to stop. Think about the times in your life when you've been afraid but took action anyway. You survived those moments. You grew because of them. That same strength still lives inside you, waiting to be used again. To develop this mindset, start small. You don't need to completely change overnight. Begin by setting one difficult goal each day, something that pushes you outside your comfort zone. Maybe it's waking up an hour earlier. Maybe it's having a tough conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's committing to work on your dream project for 30 minutes. No excuses. Each small victory builds your mental muscles. Over time, those small wins add up to unshakable confidence. Here's another key. Warriors don't waste energy on things they can't control. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people's opinions. You can't control the past. But you can control your actions, your attitude, and your response to challenges. When you stop wasting energy on what's outside your control, you become laser-focused on what you can influence.
And that's where your power lies. As you build a warrior mindset, you'll notice something incredible. Life won't necessarily get easier, but you will get stronger. The same problems that used to break you will become opportunities to prove your strength. You'll stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start feeling like the creator of your destiny. Remember, the old you was fragile. The old you crumbled under pressure, avoided pain, and gave up when things got hard. But the new you is unshakable. The new you knows that every challenge is a chance to grow. Start today. Decide that no matter what comes your way, you will not break. You will not run. You will not quit.
build a warrior mindset, and you won't just rebuild your life, you'll become unstoppable. The world may test you, but you'll meet it with strength, focus, and relentless determination. And when others wonder how you did it, you'll know the truth. You didn't just change your habits, you changed who you are at the deepest level. You became a warrior. Chapter 5. Cut off toxic influences without regret. You cannot rebuild your life while staying in the same environment that broke you. The people you surround yourself with, the voices you listen to, and the environments you stay in all shape who you become. Whether you realize it or not, you are absorbing their habits, their energy, their beliefs, and their vision of what's possible. If you want to destroy the old you and rebuild from zero, you must be willing to do something difficult. Cut off toxic influences without regret. This is one of the hardest steps for most people. Why? Because we crave connection. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. We don't want to feel alone. But here's the truth you need to face. Not everyone in your life is meant to come with you into your future. Some people were only meant to be part of your past. Take a moment and think about the people closest to you right now. Do they inspire you to be better, or do they constantly drag you back into old patterns? Do they cheer for you when you succeed, or do they secretly compete with you, waiting for you to fail? Toxic people often wear masks.
On the surface, they may seem like friends, partners, or even family who care about you, but their actions tell a different story. They gossip, they complain, they discourage you, and they plant seeds of doubt in your mind. They are like weeds in the garden of your life, choking out your growth. Here's something powerful to remember. You don't have to hate someone to walk away from them. You don't have to have a dramatic fight or a bitter ending. You simply have to recognize when a relationship is no longer serving your growth and quietly distance yourself. It's not about anger, it's about alignment. Cutting toxic influences isn't just about people either. It includes what you consume daily. The media you watch, the social feeds you scroll through, the conversations you engage in, they all shape your mindset. If you're constantly feeding your mind with negativity, fear, and drama, you will unconsciously carry that energy into your own life. Cleaning up your mental environment is just as important as cleaning up your physical one. Now let's address the guilt that often comes with this process. Many people stay stuck in destructive environments because they feel guilty about leaving. They think, I've known this person forever, or they've been there for me in the past, or family is family. But here's the truth. Loyalty has to go both ways. If someone consistently disrespects your boundaries, belittles your dreams, or poisons your growth, staying loyal to them is actually disloyal to yourself. You are not responsible for saving anyone. Read that again. You can love people from a distance. You can wish them well without letting them control your future. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is to walk away and focus on your own growth, because your example might inspire them to change more than your words ever could. When you cut toxic influences, there will be moments of loneliness. That's normal. Growth often feels lonely at first, but loneliness is temporary.
While the damage caused by staying in toxic relationships can last a lifetime, the space you create by walking away will eventually be filled with the right people. People who lift you higher, who believe in your vision, and who challenge you to become the best version of yourself. Here's a practical step. Make a list of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Then ask yourself honestly, do they push me forward or pull me backward? If the answer is backward, it's time to set boundaries. That might mean spending less time with them, having honest conversations, or in some cases, completely walking away. As you go through this process, remember your why. You are not cutting people out because you think you're better than them. You're doing it because you refuse to stay stuck in a life that no longer serves you. You're choosing to honor your future more than your past. When you finally free yourself from toxic influences, you'll feel lighter, clearer, stronger. You'll begin to see possibilities you couldn't see before because your mind and heart will no longer be clouded by negativity. This is the moment when rebuilding truly begins. The old you tolerated toxic relationships. The old you accepted low standards. The old you stayed in places that drained your spirit. But the new you walks away without regret, knowing that protecting your energy is not selfish, it's essential. So take a deep breath, stand tall, and make the decision today. Cut off the toxic influences. Say goodbye to the voices that keep you small. Your future is too important to waste on people and environments that refuse to grow with you. This is your life. Guard it fiercely. Chapter 6. Master the power of self-control. If you want to rebuild yourself from zero, there's one skill you absolutely must master: self-control. Without it, every other change you make will eventually crumble. Think about it. What good is a new vision, new habits, or even a strong mindset if you constantly sabotage yourself with impulsive decisions? Self-control is the quiet power that separates those who succeed from those who fall apart the moment life tests them. We live in a world that constantly tempts you to give in. Everywhere you look, there's something pulling at your attention. Endless notifications, junk food, mindless entertainment, quick dopamine hits that feel good now but steal your focus and energy later. Most people live like slaves to their impulses. They do whatever feels good in the moment, even if it destroys their future, and then they wonder why they feel stuck, unfulfilled, and out of control.
Here's the truth. You cannot build a powerful, unstoppable version of yourself if you're ruled by impulses. The old you gave in to every craving, every emotion, every distraction. The new you must rise above that. Self-control isn't about being perfect or rigid. It's about learning to pause, to breathe, and to choose what serves you instead of what simply feels good right now. Imagine your life like a car. Without self-control, you're driving at full speed with no brakes, swerving from one lane to another, crashing into things, and wondering why you're always cleaning up wreckage. Self-control gives you the brakes. It gives you the ability to steer with intention instead of reacting to every curve in the road. So, how do you build it? It starts with awareness. You can't control what you don't notice. Pay attention to your triggers, the situations, people, or emotions that tend to make you act impulsively. Maybe it's stress that pushes you to overeat. Maybe it's boredom that sends you scrolling on your phone for hours. Maybe it's anger that makes you say things you regret. Once you see the pattern, you can disrupt it. Here's a simple but powerful technique: the pause. When you feel the urge to act on impulse, don't fight it head-on. Just pause. Take a deep breath. Count to 5. That small delay creates space between your emotion and your action. In that space, you get to make a choice. You can still choose the impulse, or you can choose the action that serves your long-term growth. That single moment of pause can change the entire direction of your life. Another key to self-control is building systems, not relying on willpower alone. Willpower is like a muscle. It gets tired. If you try to resist temptation all day, you'll eventually give in. Instead, design your environment to support your goals. If you're trying to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in the house. If you want to focus more, turn off notifications and create a distraction-free space. Make it easier to make good choices and harder to make bad ones. And let's talk about emotions. So many people lose control because they let their emotions run the show. They lash out when they're angry, they quit when they're frustrated, they avoid challenges because they're afraid. Self-control means you don't deny your emotions, you acknowledge them, but you don't let them drive the car. You can feel fear and still move forward.
You can feel anger and still respond calmly. That's real strength. At first, this will feel difficult. You might slip up. That's okay. Self-control is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. The key is consistency. Each time you resist an impulse, you strengthen your mental muscles. Each time you choose the long-term reward over the short-term craving, you prove to yourself that you are in charge. Remember, true freedom isn't doing whatever you feel like whenever you feel like it. That's actually slavery to your impulses. True freedom is having the power to choose your actions with clarity and purpose. It's saying, I don't have to eat that, say that, or do that just because I feel like it. The old you lived on autopilot. The old you was reactive, emotional, easily swayed by temptation. But the new you is deliberate, focused, calm under pressure. When you master self-control, you don't just change your behavior, you change your entire identity. You become the kind of person who can be trusted with bigger dreams, bigger challenges, and bigger responsibilities. From this moment forward, commit to building that inner power. Pause before you act. Choose growth over comfort. And remember, every time you master yourself, you take one more step toward destroying the old you and building the life you truly deserve. Chapter 7. Design your life from zero. When you've destroyed the old you, when you've cut away the dead weight of your past and stripped your life down to the bare essentials, you stand at a powerful crossroads. This is your chance to design a brand new life intentionally, deliberately, and with absolute clarity. Most people never get here. They just drift. They wake up, follow routines they didn't choose, chase goals they didn't set, and wonder why they feel unfulfilled. But you are different. You're here to rebuild, and that means you get to start from zero. Starting from zero can feel scary. It means you no longer have the old excuses to lean on. You can't blame the past, and you can't hide behind who you used to be. But it's also incredibly exciting. Zero is pure potential.
Zero means you can choose exactly who you want to become and what kind of life you want to live. It's a blank canvas, and you're the artist. The first step is vision. You must know where you're going before you take the first step. Close your eyes and imagine the best version of yourself 5 years from now. What does your life look like? Where are you living? Who are you surrounded by? How do you spend your days? Most importantly, how do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Don't hold back. Dream boldly. The clearer you can see it, the more real it becomes. But vision alone isn't enough. You have to translate that vision into action. That's where intentional design comes in. Start by identifying your core values, the principles that matter most to you. Maybe it's freedom, growth, service, creativity, or health. When you know your values, every decision becomes easier because you have a filter to run it through. If something doesn't align with your values, it doesn't belong in your new life. Next, break your vision down into specific goals. Big dreams can feel overwhelming, but goals create structure. If your vision is to be financially free, maybe your first goal is to save a certain amount or start a side business. If your vision is to be strong and healthy, your first goal might be to commit to working out 3 times a week. These small, clear steps turn your dream into a practical roadmap. As you design your life, be ruthless about what you include and what you don't. Too many people clutter their lives with unnecessary commitments, distractions, and obligations. Remember, you're starting from zero. This is your chance to build only what matters. Say no to anything that doesn't serve your future self. Protect your time and energy like they're your most valuable resources, because they are. Here's a powerful question to ask yourself. If I were designing my life completely from scratch, would I choose this? Apply it to everything: your job, your routines, your relationships, even your environment. If the answer is no, it's time to make changes. It might not happen overnight, but every small decision moves you closer to the life you truly want. Another key part of designing your life is environment. Your surroundings shape you more than you realize. If you want to become disciplined, create a space that supports discipline, a clean, organized environment free of distractions.
If you want to feel inspired, fill your space with books, quotes, and visuals that remind you of your vision. Your environment should pull you toward success, not push you back into old patterns. Now, let's talk about patience. Rebuilding your life is a process, not an event. You won't see results overnight, and that's okay. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You water it, nurture it, and trust that growth is happening beneath the surface. Do the same with your new life. Stay consistent, even when progress feels slow. Here's the beautiful thing. As you start living intentionally, you'll begin to feel a deep sense of control and freedom. Instead of reacting to life, you'll be creating it. Instead of drifting, you'll be driving. The old you was a passenger, constantly at the mercy of other people's decisions. The new you is the driver, hands firmly on the wheel, building a future that excites you. Designing your life from zero isn't just about goals and plans, it's about identity. Every choice you make is a vote for the person you want to become. Over time, those choices add up. One day you'll look back and realize you've built a life that feels authentic, powerful, and deeply fulfilling. This is your chance. Don't waste it by settling for someone else's idea of success. Build a life that reflects your deepest values and dreams, a life that makes you proud. You've destroyed the old you. Now it's time to create something extraordinary in its place. This is where your true power begins. Chapter 8. Build unshakable daily routines. If you want to change your life, you don't need one big breakthrough. You need small, consistent actions repeated every single day. That's the power of routine. Most people underestimate just how much their daily habits shape their destiny. They think success comes from massive leaps forward, but the truth is it's built quietly, brick by brick, through what you do each morning, each afternoon, and each evening.
Your routines are like the operating system of your life. They run in the background, guiding your actions without you even thinking about them. If your routines are weak and scattered, your life will reflect that chaos. But if your routines are strong, intentional, and aligned with your goals, they will carry you forward, even on the days when your motivation disappears. Because let's be honest, motivation will not always be there. Some days you'll wake up feeling tired, overwhelmed, or discouraged. That's why you need routines to keep you moving forward, regardless of how you feel. Think of a plane on autopilot. The pilot doesn't have to manually steer every second. The system keeps it on course. That's what a powerful routine does for you. It keeps you on track when life tries to pull you off course. Let's start with your mornings. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start your day rushed, distracted, or reactive, checking your phone, scrolling through social media, jumping straight into chaos, you'll spend the rest of the day playing catch-up. But if you start your day with intention, you take control before the world can take control of you. A strong morning routine might include waking up at a set time, drinking water, moving your body, practicing gratitude, and setting your top priorities for the day. It doesn't have to be complicated. What matters is that it's consistent and empowering. Now let's talk about evening routines. Too many people stay up late, scrolling, binge-watching, or stressing about tomorrow. Then they wonder why they wake up tired and unmotivated. Your evening routine should help you wind down, reflect on the day, and prepare for the next one. Simple actions like writing down tomorrow's tasks, reading for a few minutes, or spending a moment in quiet reflection can completely change the way you sleep and how you feel in the morning. The key to unshakable routines is simplicity. Don't overload yourself with 20 steps you can't maintain. Start small. Pick 2 or 3 core habits that matter most and master those first. Once they become automatic, you can add more. It's like building a house. You lay the foundation before adding walls and a roof. Another important piece is discipline. In the beginning, your mind will resist change. It will try to convince you to skip your routine just this once. But every time you follow through, even when you don't feel like it, you build mental strength over time. These small acts of discipline compound into unshakable consistency. And here's something powerful. Your routines don't just shape your actions, they shape your identity.
When you consistently follow through, you start to see yourself differently. You stop being someone who tries to change and become someone who is disciplined, focused, and capable. That shift in identity is what creates lasting transformation. It's also important to track your progress. Write down your routines and check them off each day. Seeing your streak grow will motivate you to keep going, especially on days when you feel stuck. Progress, no matter how small, creates momentum. Now, you might be thinking, but what about when life gets chaotic? What about when unexpected things happen? That's the beauty of strong routines. They act as anchors. Even when everything around you feels out of control, your routines give you stability. They remind you who you are and what you're working toward. Remember, the old you was inconsistent. The old you relied on motivation and gave up when things got hard. The new you understands that success isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Missing one day won't ruin you, but missing too many will break your momentum. So, protect your routines like they're sacred. Here's your challenge. Design a morning and evening routine today. Keep it simple. Stick with it for the next 30 days, no matter what.
At first, it will feel forced. Then it will feel natural. Eventually, it will feel like part of who you are when you build unshakable routines. You don't just change your days, you change your entire life. Each morning becomes a fresh opportunity to grow, and each evening becomes a moment to reset and recharge. Over time, those small, consistent actions will take you farther than you ever imagined. This is how you create a life where progress is inevitable. This is how you rebuild from zero and never go back. Chapter 9. Develop skills that make you valuable. If you want to rebuild your life from zero, you need more than just a vision and good habits. You need to become valuable. Value is what creates opportunities. Value is what gets you noticed, respected, and rewarded in a world that is constantly changing. Without value, you are easily replaceable. And when you are easily replaceable, you are always at the mercy of others, employers, circumstances, even luck. But when you develop rare and powerful skills, you take control of your future. You stop chasing opportunities and start attracting them. Here's the reality. Most people avoid facing the marketplace doesn't pay you for your time. It pays you for the value you bring. Two people can work the same number of hours, but one earns 10 times more because they've developed skills that are rare and in demand. If you want to rebuild yourself and create a life of freedom, you must focus on becoming that second person. The first step is to identify what kind of value you want to create. Look at your strengths and your passions. What comes naturally to you? What do people often ask for your help with? Now, combine that with what the world needs. This is where the magic happens, where your interests meet the world's demand. For example, maybe you love writing and storytelling, and there's a massive demand for content creators, copywriters, and marketers. Or maybe you're fascinated by technology, and there's a need for people who can solve complex technical problems. Once you identify a skill, commit to becoming exceptional at it. Not average, not good enough, exceptional. Too many people dabble in everything and master nothing.
They try a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but never go deep enough to stand out. Depth creates value. When you focus on mastering one or two key skills, you become the go-to person in that area, and that's when opportunities start chasing you. Understand this. Skills are built through deliberate practice. That means setting aside time each day to train, learn, and refine. It won't always be fun. There will be days when you feel frustrated, when progress feels slow, when you doubt yourself. Push through those moments. Mastery is earned through repetition and persistence, not by quitting when things get difficult. In today's world, self-education is more powerful than ever. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need a fancy degree or someone to tell you it's okay to start.
With books, online courses, podcasts, and mentorship, you have access to more knowledge than any generation before you. The question isn't whether the resources are available. The question is whether you'll discipline yourself to use them. Another important point, don't just focus on hard skills like coding, design, or marketing. Soft skills like communication, leadership, problem-solving, and emotional intelligence are just as important, if not more. You can be brilliant at your craft, but if you can't communicate your ideas, work with others, or handle pressure, your value will always be limited. The most successful people are those who combine technical expertise with strong interpersonal skills. As you grow, look for ways to test your skills in the real world. Theory is useless without application. Take on projects, even small ones, volunteer, freelance, or create something of your own. Every time you put your skills into action, you gain experience, confidence, and credibility.
Here's a mindset shift you need to embrace. Stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" The more value you create for others, the more opportunities will flow back to you. It's like planting seeds. When you focus on giving value, those seeds eventually grow into rewards, financially, professionally, and personally. This chapter isn't about working yourself to exhaustion. It's about building leverage. When you have valuable skills, you no longer need to fight for scraps. You have options. You have bargaining power. You have the freedom to choose where you work, whom you work with, and how you live. The old you may have relied on luck or waited for someone to save you. The new you takes ownership. The new you invests in yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. Skills are the currency of the future, and the sooner you start building them, the sooner you'll break free from dependency and mediocrity. So ask yourself today, what skill, if I mastered it, would completely change my life? Once you have the answer, go all in. Study, practice, fail, learn, repeat. Every hour you invest in skill building is a brick in the foundation of your new life. Over time, those bricks create something unshakable, a version of you that is not just surviving, but thriving. When you develop skills that make you valuable, you stop being at the mercy of circumstances. You become the architect of your own future. And that's how you rebuild from zero, with strength, confidence, and a value so undeniable that the world can't ignore you. Chapter 10. Create a bulletproof financial foundation. You can't fully rebuild your life if your finances are a mess. Money might not be the most important thing in life, but let's be honest, it affects everything. When you're constantly stressed about bills, drowning in debt, or living paycheck to paycheck, it's nearly impossible to focus on growth. You can't build the best version of yourself while living in survival mode. That's why creating a bulletproof financial foundation is a crucial part of rebuilding from zero.
Let's start with a simple truth. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how you manage the money you have. There are people who earn 6 figures but are still broke because their spending habits are out of control. And there are people who earn modest incomes but build wealth because they understand discipline and strategy. Money doesn't fix money problems. Behavior does. The first step to taking control of your finances is awareness. You can't fix what you don't track. Sit down and get brutally honest about where your money is going. Write down every expense, every bill, every dollar you spend. Most people avoid this because they're afraid of what they'll see, but shining a light on your finances is the only way to change them. You might be shocked by how much money is slipping through your fingers on things that don't actually matter. Once you have clarity, the next step is to create a plan. Start by building an emergency fund, even if it's just a small one at first. Life is unpredictable. Cars break down, jobs are lost, unexpected bills pop up. When you have even a small cushion set aside, you're no longer living in constant fear of the next crisis. That security gives you peace of mind and the confidence to take bigger steps forward. Next, tackle your debt. Debt is like a ball and chain dragging you backward. The longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes.
Focus on paying off high-interest debt first, things like credit cards and personal loans. Each payment you make isn't just about reducing numbers on a statement, it's about reclaiming your freedom. Every dollar of debt you eliminate is one less dollar of your future being controlled by the past. As you rebuild, learn to live below your means. This doesn't mean living a miserable, joyless life. It means being intentional with your spending. Before buying something, ask yourself, does this align with the future I'm building? If the answer is no, skip it. Remember, every unnecessary purchase delays your freedom. While cutting expenses is important, don't ignore the other side of the equation, increasing your income. You can only cut so much, but your earning potential is unlimited. This is where the skills from the previous chapter come into play. The more valuable you become, the more opportunities you'll have to earn. That might mean starting a side hustle, asking for a raise, or launching a business. Multiple streams of income provide stability and speed up your progress. Another key piece of a bulletproof financial foundation is learning to invest.
Saving money alone won't build wealth, especially with inflation constantly eating away at it. You don't need to be a financial expert to start investing. Begin with simply proven strategies like index funds or retirement accounts. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow through the power of compounding. Think of investing as planting seeds. At first, the growth seems small, but over time, those seeds can grow into a forest that provides security for the rest of your life. It's also important to protect what you're building. That means having proper insurance, avoiding risky financial decisions, and continuing to educate yourself. Money is a tool, and like any tool, you need to learn how to use it wisely. Read books, listen to podcasts, and seek out mentors who understand money management. Here's the mindset shift you must make. Stop thinking of money as something to chase and start thinking of it as something to manage. When you focus only on chasing, you'll always feel desperate. But when you focus on managing, you gain control. That control allows you to make decisions from a place of strength instead of fear. The old you may have lived paycheck to paycheck, spending impulsively and avoiding responsibility. The new you is intentional, disciplined, and focused. The new you understands that money is not the goal, freedom is the goal. Money is simply the tool that buys you time, choices, and peace of mind. Imagine waking up each morning knowing your bills are covered, your debts are shrinking, and your future is secure. Imagine having the freedom to take risks, pursue passions, and say yes to opportunities because you're not weighed down by financial stress. That's what a bulletproof financial foundation gives you. Start small, but start today. Track your spending, build a tiny emergency fund, pay off one small debt. These steps may feel insignificant now, but over time they will transform your entire life. The sooner you take control of your money, the sooner you take control of your destiny. Chapter 11. Turn pain into power. Pain is inevitable. There's no escaping it.
At some point in your life, you've been hurt, disappointed, or betrayed. You faced losses, failures, and setbacks that left scars on your heart and mind. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. More pain is coming. Life will never stop testing you. But here's the good news. Pain doesn't have to destroy you. It can be the very thing that builds you. The difference lies in how you respond. You can let pain break you, or you can use it as fuel to rise higher than ever before. Most people run from pain. They numb it with distractions, food, alcohol, entertainment, endless scrolling, toxic relationships. They try to pretend it isn't there, hoping it will fade on its own. Stained. But ignoring pain only gives it more power. When you bury it, it doesn't disappear. It festers, growing stronger beneath the surface until it explodes in ways you can't control. You have to face it head on. You have to look pain in the eye and say, "You will not define me. You will not control me. I will use you to become stronger." This isn't easy, but it's necessary. Some of the most powerful people you've ever admired didn't get there because life was easy. They got there because they turned their suffering into strength. Think about it. Pain is proof that you're alive. It's proof that you care. The same fire that burns you can also forge you. A blacksmith takes raw metal and puts it through fire, hammering it again and again until it becomes a strong, sharp sword. That's what life does to you. Sure, the hammering hurts, the fire burns, but without it, you'd never become who you were meant to be. The first step to turning pain into power is to reframe it. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Every painful experience carries a lesson. Maybe it's teaching you resilience. Maybe it's revealing who you can truly trust. Maybe it's showing you what you need to change about yourself.
When you search for the lesson, pain becomes purposeful instead of pointless. Pain without action turns into bitterness. Action is how you take control. Use your pain as fuel to create something better. If you've been betrayed, use that pain to build stronger boundaries and self-respect. If you've failed, use that pain to work harder, smarter, and with more focus than ever before. If you've lost something or someone important, honor that loss by living fully instead of collapsing into despair. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable. On those days, don't focus on the whole journey. Focus on just taking one step. Sometimes survival is an act of strength. Just getting out of bed, just showing up, just refusing to quit. That is victory. Over time, those small steps add up, and before you know it, you're no longer just surviving, you're thriving. Another way to turn pain into power is to help others. When you share your story, when you use your experience to guide someone else through their own struggles, your pain transforms into something beautiful. It becomes a bridge instead of a barrier. What once made you feel alone can now connect you to others in a meaningful way. Understand this: pain doesn't leave you the same. It will either harden you or heal you, depending on what you do with it. If you let it, pain will make you bitter, closed off, and afraid to try again. But if you face it, process it, and grow from it, pain will make you wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. The old you probably ran from pain. The old you avoided discomfort, avoided confrontation, avoided anything that hurt. But the new you knows better. New understands that pain is a teacher, a motivator, and a source of strength. You don't have to like it, but you can respect it for what it gives you. One day you will look back on the pain you're facing now and realize it was shaping you into someone extraordinary. You'll see that what felt like the end was actually the beginning. But for now, all you need to do is keep going, keep showing up, keep choosing to turn your pain into power, one moment at a time. Remember, the fire that burns you today can forge you into something unbreakable tomorrow.
Let your pain push you, not paralyze you. Let it be the fuel that drives you to rebuild your life into something greater than you ever imagined. This is how you rise from the ashes, not in spite of your pain, but because of it. Chapter 12. Master the art of patience and long-term thinking. We live in a world that worships speed. Everything around you is designed to make you want results now. Fast food, instant notifications, same-day delivery, viral success stories. Everywhere you look, people seem to be winning overnight, and it creates this illusion that success should happen quickly. But here's the truth: no one talks about. Lasting success takes time. Deep, meaningful change doesn't happen in a week or even a month. It's built slowly through consistent effort, and that requires patience and long-term thinking. Patience is not just about waiting, it's about how you behave while you wait. Most people quit not because their goal was impossible, but because they couldn't handle the discomfort of slow progress.
They get discouraged when they don't see immediate results, so they abandon the process right before the breakthrough was about to happen. Imagine planting a seed and digging it up every day to check if it's growing. That's what impatience looks like. The growth is happening, but you keep interrupting it because you can't stand the uncertainty. To master patience, you must first understand that everything worthwhile has a timeline. Think about building a house. You wouldn't expect it to be finished in a single day. You know there are steps: laying the foundation, putting up walls, wiring the electricity, adding the finishing touches. Your life works the same way. If you want to rebuild yourself from zero, you have to honor the process. Skipping steps only leads to a shaky, unstable future.
One of the biggest mistakes people make is comparing your timeline to someone else's. Maybe you see someone your age living your dream life and you feel like you're falling behind, but you don't know the full story. You don't see the years of work, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices they made to get there. Everyone has their own journey, and comparing only steals your joy and focus. The only timeline you need to worry about is yours. Long-term thinking is the other half of this equation. Patience without vision can feel like wandering aimlessly. You need to keep your eyes on the bigger picture, even when the present feels slow or frustrating. Long-term thinking means asking yourself, how will this decision affect me 5 years from now, 10 years from now? It's about playing the long game instead of chasing short-term highs. Most people make decisions based on how they feel right now. They choose comfort today and pay for it tomorrow. But successful people do the opposite. They make decisions that might be uncomfortable today, but create freedom and fulfillment later. Going to the gym instead of watching TV, saving money instead of buying something impulsively, studying a skill instead of wasting hours scrolling online. These small, wise choices compound over time, like interest in a bank account, eventually creating massive results. Here's a powerful truth. Time will pass. Whether you use it well or waste it, a year from now you can either look back and see progress or look back and see regret. The choice is yours. Don't get discouraged by how long the journey might take. The time is going to pass anyway, so you might as well spend it building something meaningful. One way to stay patient is to focus on the process, not just the outcome. Set goals, yes, but don't obsess over the finish line. Instead, fall in love with the daily actions that move you forward. If your goal is to get fit, focus on showing up for your workouts and eating well today. If your goal is to build a business, focus on serving your customers and improving your skills right now. When you give your best to each day, the results will take care of themselves. It's also important to celebrate small wins along the way. Patience doesn't mean you ignore progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're growing. Acknowledge it. Let it fuel your motivation to keep going. The old you probably gave up when things got hard or slow. The old you chased quick fixes and instant gratification. But the new you is different. The new you understands that building a powerful life is a marathon, not a sprint. You are no longer focused on quick highs. You are building a foundation that will last for decades. When you master the art of patience and long-term thinking, life becomes calmer. You stop panicking over temporary setbacks. You stop doubting yourself every time progress feels slow. Instead, you trust the process. You trust that your consistent actions are adding up, even if you can't see the full results yet. There will be days when you feel like giving up. On those days, remind yourself why you started. Picture the future you're building. That vision will keep you moving when your emotions try to pull you backward. The greatest transformations don't happen in a rush. They happen quietly, day after day, through steady, patient effort. So slow down, breathe, commit to the long game, because the life you truly want is worth every ounce of time and every drop of patience it takes to build it. Chapter 13. Build a relentless work ethic.
If you want to rebuild your life from zero, there's one truth you cannot escape. You must be willing to work harder than you've ever worked before. Not for a week, not for a month, but for as long as it takes to create the life you envision. Success doesn't come to the person who simply wants it the most. It comes to the person who is willing to do the work day in and day out, long after everyone else has quit. Instead, fall in love with the daily actions that move you forward. If your goal is to get fit, focus on showing up for your workouts and eating well today. If your goal is to build a business, focus on serving your customers and improving your skills right now. When you give your best to each day, the results will take care of themselves. It's also important to celebrate small wins along the way. Patience doesn't mean you ignore progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're growing. Acknowledge it. Let it fuel your motivation to keep going. The old you probably gave up when things got hard or slow. The old you chased quick fixes and instant gratification. But the new you is different. The new you understands that building a powerful life is a marathon, not a sprint. You are no longer focused on quick highs. You are building a foundation that will last for decades. When you master the art of patience and long-term thinking, life becomes calmer. You stop panicking over temporary setbacks. You stop doubting yourself every time progress feels slow. Instead, you trust the process. You trust that your consistent actions are adding up, even if you can't see the full results yet. There will be days when you feel like giving up. On those days, remind yourself why you started. Picture the future you're building. That vision will keep you moving when your emotions try to pull you backward. The greatest transformations don't happen in a rush. They happen quietly, day after day, through steady, patient effort. So slow down, breathe, commit to the long game, because the life you truly want is worth every ounce of time and every drop of patience it takes to build it. Chapter 13. Build a relentless work ethic. If you want to rebuild your life from zero, there's one truth you cannot escape. You must be willing to work harder than you've ever worked before. Not for a week, not for a month, but for as long as it takes to create the life you envision. Success doesn't come to the person who simply wants it the most. It comes to the person who is willing to do the work day in and day out, long after everyone else has quit.
That's what it means to have a relentless work ethic. The word relentless matters here. It's not about working hard only when you feel motivated or when the conditions are perfect. It's about showing up even when you're tired, even when no one is watching, even when the results seem far away. Most people stop when they get bored, when they hit resistance, or when they feel like progress is too slow. That's why they stay stuck. A relentless worker keeps going no matter what. Think of a mountain climber. The journey to the top is exhausting. The air gets thinner, the path gets steeper. At certain points, it feels easier to turn back and settle for where you are. But a climber with relentless determination takes one more step, and then another, and another. That's how they reach the peak. Your goals work the same way. They won't be achieved in one giant leap. They will be reached through small, consistent steps taken every single day, powered by an unstoppable work ethic. Building this kind of mindset begins with discipline. You won't always feel like putting in the work, and that's okay. Feelings don't matter when you're committed to something bigger than yourself. Discipline is doing what you need to do even when you don't want to. It's waking up early when the bed feels warm and inviting. It's staying focused when distractions are screaming for your attention. It's putting in hours of practice long after the initial excitement has faded. But let me be clear, having a relentless work ethic doesn't mean working without rest or burning yourself out.
It's not about working mindlessly until you collapse. It's about working with focus and purpose. It's about giving your absolute best effort to the things that truly matter while cutting out the things that don't. A lot of people mistake busy for productivity. They confuse motion with progress. A relentless worker knows the difference. They prioritize what moves them forward and ignore the noise. Here's a simple way to develop this trait. Create non-negotiables in your life. These are the actions you commit to doing every day, no matter what. For example, a writer might commit to writing 500 words a day, no excuses. An athlete might commit to training for 2 hours daily, no matter how they feel. These small, consistent commitments build mental toughness and make success inevitable over time. Another important element is resilience. No matter how hard you work, there will be setbacks. You'll face failures, rejections, and unexpected obstacles. Most people let these moments crush them. They take one setback as a sign to quit. But someone with a relentless work ethic sees setbacks as part of the process. They don't ask, "Why me?" They ask, "How can I learn from this and keep moving forward?"
That mindset is what separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. Surround yourself with people who embody this same energy. Being around lazy, unmotivated individuals will drag you down, but being around driven, focused people will elevate you. Their standards will become your standards. Their hunger will ignite your hunger. If you can't find people like that in your immediate circle, seek them out through books, podcasts, or online communities. You are influenced by what you consistently consume. Most importantly, remember why you started. A relentless work ethic is fueled by a strong why. When you have a clear vision of the life you want to create, when you deeply understand what's at stake, your drive becomes unshakable. On the days when exhaustion creeps in and doubt whispers in your ear, your why will keep you going. The old you probably gave up too easily. The old you probably let excuses and emotions dictate your actions. But the new you is different. The new you understands that nothing worthwhile comes without relentless effort. You are no longer a person who waits for luck or miracles. You are a person who creates results through grit, consistency, and unbreakable determination. One day, all the late nights, early mornings, and difficult choices will pay off. You'll look back and realize that the work you put in didn't just build your dreams, it built you. It shaped your character, your strength, and your future. A relentless work ethic doesn't just change what you achieve, it changes who you become. So, starting today, decide to be unstoppable. Decide to show up no matter what. Decide to be the kind of person who never quits, who never settles, who never lets temporary pain stop them from building a permanent legacy. That is how you rebuild your life from zero and create something extraordinary. Chapter 14. Stay grounded as you rise. Success changes people, not always for the better. When you've been working hard to rebuild yourself from zero, there comes a moment when things start to click. Your efforts begin to pay off. Opportunities open up. People start noticing your progress.
The life you've been fighting for starts to take shape. This is exciting, but it's also dangerous because the higher you rise, the easier it is to forget who you are and where you came from. That's why staying grounded is so important. Think about a tree. The taller it grows, the deeper its roots must go. If it grows tall without strong roots, a single storm can knock it down. Your life works the same way. Your achievements are the branches and leaves everyone can see. But your roots, your values, your principles, your humility, those are what keep you standing when challenges come. The truth is, success can be just as challenging to handle as failure. Failure humbles you. It reminds you that you have more work to do. Success, on the other hand, can trick you into believing you've made it, that you don't need to push as hard anymore, that you're somehow above the basics that got you here in the first place. Many people lose themselves at this stage. They start neglecting the habits and disciplines that built their success. They let praise go to their heads, and slowly, without even realizing it, they become the very person they swore they'd never be. To stay grounded, you must constantly remind yourself of why you started. Remember the version of you who was desperate to change, who was hungry for a better life, who was willing to do whatever it took to rise. That person is still inside you. Never lose touch with them. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to stay connected to your roots. Every day, take a moment to appreciate where you are and how far you've come. Gratitude keeps your heart humble and your perspective clear. Another key is to separate your worth from your achievements. You are not your job title, your bank account, or your accomplishments. Those things are temporary. They can be taken away. What matters is who you are when everything is stripped away. Your character, your integrity, your kindness. If you build your identity solely on external success, you'll always feel unstable, constantly chasing the next thing to prove yourself. But when you root yourself in who you are, you remain steady no matter what happens around you. Be intentional about the people you surround yourself with. As you rise, new people will enter your life. Some will genuinely support you, while others will be drawn to your success for selfish reasons. It's easy to get caught up in the attention and forget who truly has your back. Keep a small circle of people who knew you before the rise, who care about you as a person, not just as a symbol of success. These are the voices that will keep you accountable and call you out when you start drifting. Staying grounded also means continuing to grow. The moment you think you know it all, you stop evolving. Stay curious. Stay hungry to learn. Success is not a finish line. It's a foundation for new levels of growth. The most grounded people are the ones who never stop being students of life. You'll also need to protect yourself from ego. Ego whispers lies like, "You're better than them," or "You don't need to listen anymore," or "You deserve to take it easy now." Ego is the enemy of progress. The best antidote is service. Use your success to lift others up. Mentor someone who's just starting out. Share your lessons. When you focus on giving instead of just receiving, your heart stays aligned with what truly matters. Finally, remember that life has seasons. There will be highs and lows, wins and losses. Don't get too attached to either. Celebrate your victories, but don't let them define you. Endure your struggles, but don't let them destroy you. Stay steady like that tree with deep roots, no matter how strong the winds blow. The old you may have been fragile, easily swayed by opinions, circumstances, and fleeting highs.
The new you must be different. You've worked too hard to rebuild your life to let success pull you off track. Stay grounded as you rise, and you won't just achieve great things. You'll maintain the strength, clarity, and humility needed to handle them well. Because the ultimate goal isn't just to rise, it's to rise in such a way that you never lose yourself along the way. That is true success. That is lasting greatness. Chapter 15. Never Stop Rebuilding. Rebuilding your life isn't something you do once and then you're done. It's a lifelong process. The moment you think you've arrived, you start to slip backward. Growth is never static. You're either moving forward or you're falling behind. That's why you must adopt a mindset of constant rebuilding. Even when things are going well, even when you've achieved some of the goals you once only dreamed about, you have to keep evolving. Think of life like a house. Over time, even the strongest house needs maintenance. The paint fades, the foundation shifts, the roof wears down. If you ignore those small cracks, eventually they turn into massive problems. Your life is no different. Old habits can creep back in. Comfort can slowly take over. You might not even notice it happening until one day you realize you're drifting back toward the very person you fought so hard to leave behind. The old you was built on weak habits, toxic influences, and limiting beliefs. You've worked so hard to destroy that version of yourself. But the truth is, the old you is always waiting in the shadows, ready to return the moment you stop paying attention. That's why rebuilding never ends. It's not about tearing yourself down every time. It's about continuously improving, refining, and leveling up. One of the biggest dangers of success is complacency. When you're struggling, it's easy to stay hungry and focused. You're fighting to survive, fighting to create a better life. But once you start to see progress, once you start to taste comfort, that fire can fade. You start thinking, I've made it, I can relax now. That's the trap. Comfort kills growth. The very thing you worked so hard for can become the thing that stops you from reaching your true potential. The way to avoid this is to always have a new vision. The moment you achieve one goal, set another. Not because you're ungrateful for what you've accomplished, but because growth is what keeps you alive. Humans are wired for progress. Without a challenge to rise to, we stagnate. So keep asking yourself, what's next? How can I grow from here? Rebuilding also means regularly checking in with yourself. Schedule moments to pause and reflect. Look at your habits, your mindset, your relationships. Ask yourself honestly, am I still on track? Am I becoming the person I want to be? Sometimes rebuilding isn't about massive change. It's about small course corrections, like a ship adjusting its sails to stay on course. These tiny adjustments prevent you from drifting miles off track. Another key to never-ending rebuilding is staying curious. The world is constantly changing. New opportunities, new skills, new ways of thinking are always emerging. If you cling too tightly to what you know, you'll get left behind. Commit to being a lifelong student. Read books, take courses, seek mentors. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow. The more you learn, the more tools you have to keep building a life that excites you. Of course, this process isn't always comfortable. Rebuilding often requires letting go of parts of yourself you've outgrown. Old identities, old relationships, old ways of thinking. Sometimes they have to be left behind. It can feel painful, like shedding a skin. But remember, you can't step into the next version of yourself while holding on to the past. There will also be seasons where rebuilding feels like starting over completely. Maybe you lose a job, a relationship, or an opportunity you thought was permanent. In those moments, it's easy to feel like all your progress was wasted, but it wasn't. Every skill you've built, every lesson you've learned, every ounce of strength you've developed, it all comes with you. Even if you start again from zero, you're starting as a completely different person than you were before. That's the beauty of growth. You may begin again, but you never truly go back to who you were. The old you may have feared failure, feared discomfort, feared the unknown. The new you embraces those things as part of the journey. You understand now that rebuilding isn't a punishment, it's a privilege. It means you're alive, you're growing, and you're refusing to settle. So as you move forward, remember this: there is no final destination. There is no moment where you get to stop. Life will always bring new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities to evolve. Embrace it. Stay hungry. Keep tearing down what no longer serves you and building up what makes you stronger. Because the moment you stop rebuilding is the moment you start falling back into the old patterns you fought so hard to escape. And you've come too far to ever go back. Never stop rebuilding. Never stop growing. That's how you create a life that's not only successful, but deeply fulfilling. A life you can be proud of every single day. Conclusion: you've reached the end of this audiobook. But in truth, this is only the beginning. The journey to destroy the old you and rebuild from zero is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong process. You've learned how to face the brutal truth about yourself, how to cut ties with your past, how to eliminate weak habits, and how to create powerful routines and a bulletproof mindset. You've learned to develop valuable skills, build a strong financial foundation, turn pain into power, and stay grounded as you rise. But now comes the most important part: putting it all into action. Listening to these words is the first step. Acting on them is where real transformation happens. Knowledge alone changes nothing. You can read every book, listen to every audiobook, and watch every motivational video out there. But if you don't take consistent, deliberate action, you'll stay exactly where you are. The old you will remain alive and well, waiting for you to fall back into old patterns. Here's the truth. There will be days when this feels exciting, and days when it feels exhausting. Days when you see progress, and days when it feels like nothing is changing. That's normal. Growth is not linear. What matters most is that you keep moving forward. Even a small step taken every day compounds into massive change over time. Remember, destroying the old you isn't about hating your past self. It's about acknowledging who you were, learning from it, and choosing to become someone better. Every failure, every heartbreak, every mistake brought you to this exact moment. The moment where you get to decide who you will become next. The new you is not built overnight. It's built in the quiet, disciplined moments when no one is watching. It's built when you say no to the distractions and temptations that once controlled you. It's built when you wake up early to work on your goals, when you push through discomfort, when you keep going, even when quitting feels easier. As you move forward, don't underestimate the power of small wins. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Over time, those votes add up. They create an identity so strong that slipping back into the old you becomes impossible. One day you'll look back and realize that the struggle, the pain, and the hard choices were worth it. You'll see that you didn't just rebuild your life, you rebuilt yourself. You became the kind of person who can face any storm, rise from any failure, and create a future you once thought was impossible. But don't wait for someday. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it will never come. The perfect moment is now. The new you begins with the next choice you make, the next habit you form, the next step you take. It begins with the decision to stop talking about change and start living it. You have everything you need inside you to create a life that excites you, challenges you, and fulfills you. The old you had its time, but that chapter is over. This is your blank page. This is your second chance. So take a deep breath, stand tall, and step into the life you were meant to live. Destroy the old you, rebuild from zero, and never stop becoming the person you know you can be. Your new life starts now.